I'm Charlene Bowden. Welcome to Living the Life I Sing About. You know, I really like words, and not because I want to build my vocabulary to this wonderful place of just knowing how to drop a word at any moment, because I don't. But I like words because of their power. They have the power to create, they have the power to build, to tear down, just so much power in words. When my daughters were little, I paid attention to the songs that they listened to, because if they couldn't tell me what they were singing about, I didn't want them to sing it. That's how much power I think that words have. So that's what living the life is. I do sing, but it's not about singing. It's about the words that we're saying that are creating opportunities for us or denying us opportunities. What have I said in my past that I'm now experiencing in my life? What can I say now moving forward that will change my direction? That's what we talk about here. We take off the mask. We just get true and transparent. It's me and my friends, and that's what we're doing here today. I am so glad that you are here with me. And joining me is my dear friend, sister friend, Maseray Young. You are not a stranger to It's Just Us, but welcome to Living the Life I Sing About.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you again.
You too. When I think about you, Maseray, I think about family, yes, clearly. But you have such an unadulterated love also. And I think legacy when I think about you. And it makes me smile when I'm just thinking, riding around. It's like, oh, Maseray, where is she? What is she doing? But you just bring so much legacy and rich history and things like that to my mind when you cross my mind. And that's what I want us to talk about today, just the things that have happened that our parents maybe have left behind for us, and then what we can leave behind for our children as well. You know, I was listening to the radio a couple of days ago, and the conversation was how parents are leaving their children in debt. You know, and I think about the scripture, if you will, about leaving that inheritance for our children and our children's children. It's like, so what am I leaving behind? And what was left behind for me, you know? But at the same time, how much emphasis are we putting on the tangible things that we're leaving behind versus the intangible things, the character, and yes, all of those kinds of things like that? What do you say?
Amazing. You know, this is a topic for today.
Yeah.
And everything that I'm doing to this moment really lies within these conversations we're having. The legacies we're leaving behind. How are we loving our children? What is love really? Is it about how much stuff we give our children, or we're setting them in a standard where they have the integrity that we know they should have? The love of God to me is so vital in all of our lives. And I think when we have the basis taken care of, all these other things would be in place, because right now I am living that life at this point. Yeah. Living out my mother's legacy, something that I never thought I would be doing. But because of the values she instilled in me, because of the heart of love that I saw with her, and the discipline. I know that's a word that people think is a bad word, but it's a good thing. We need to be disciplined as people. You know, but because of all of those things my mom instilled in us as a family, as in her children, we are all doing different things in our lives, but the foundation is so similar. Everyone is putting their hands to something outside of themselves. Yeah. Yeah. You know, because most times when people say, I'm successful, I'm living the life, I'm doing well, sometimes it's just about what they're accumulating for them, their children's children, or the stress of it all. It is not, you know, they can't sleep at night because they're so busy trying to accumulate stuff. Right. And the relationship, there's none. I always say that there's a communication, there's what's the word here? People are communicating all the time, but no one is actually having a relationship. We're either on the phone, we are on the internet, we're talking to someone, but there are no relationships.
Yeah, we're not touching anymore.
We're not touching. So these are, and it's a question that we all need to ask ourselves, whether you have children or not. What legacy are you living behind? Yeah. Whether it's to the children that you interact with. I'm not a mom. I'm a stepmother, and I have 3 beautiful grandkids. I love the sound of that. 3 beautiful grandkids. Yeah. And I said, does the fact that I don't have natural children of my own, does that mean I cannot impact lives of children? Absolutely not. Yeah. I can spend my time loving people, sharing, and just having life, living life with people, or I can sit and mope about what I don't have.
Yeah.
And missing all the love that God has placed around me.
Absolutely.
So this is such a timely conversation we're having today.
Absolutely. You know, when I think about this, I cannot have this conversation without bringing up something that my grandfather told my mother's father, told my mother and my grandmother. My mom's an only child. So it was very important to them that you all stay close. It's just a few of us, you know, because my mom's the only child. She had 2 children. Now it's like, seems like it's a whole lot of us in the house now. But one thing that he instilled, he left behind for us to do, is to make sure every Sunday you all get together and have dinner.
Yeah.
Now, I grew up with my now remember, it's just a few of us, but my grandmother would have this spread almost like Thanksgiving every week, because it was so important to my grandfather that he leaves that behind for the children. But at the same time, sometimes it's challenging. You know, it's a little challenging to keep that going, because now we have, like me, I'm a business owner, so I'm all over the place a lot of the times. Children have kids, and there's soccer, there's dance class, there's all these different things that are just pulling and tugging at us to get us away from those core values and those things that are so important to keep that tradition going. You know, my grandmother, I don't remember her ever working outside the house. And my mother didn't work outside the house until I started school. It's like, did we just make things like really complicated? How did we get to this point? Now, at the same time, I do realize that my choices caused me to not create that for my children.
Right.
You know, sometimes that's a hard thing to say. It's all just about my choices. So I couldn't pass that on to my girls. But at the same time, if I can just continue to give them those other rich things that come along with, that's just come down through our ancestors and through our generation, if I can give you that, maybe I can leave you $1, you know.
Right.
I can leave you $1. Hopefully I can not leave you in my debt. But, you know, just passing even just the simple things on to the family. But that family table and those conversations that happen around that table, it's priceless.
Endearing and loving and kind. And I think of all these words. My family's so scattered. We grew up, of course, together, but I have a sister in London. I had a sister in Atlanta who just moved to Austin, Texas. I have a brother in Atlanta. I have a brother in Washington, D.C. I have a brother in Spain. We're everywhere around the world. And you figure, how do you make this work? You know, I thank God for technology. Those are the good things about technology I can embrace. To be able to go on Skype and see their faces, see their children. I even have a brother that doesn't speak English. We need an interpreter in order for us to communicate. You know, imagine things are getting, the simple things are getting even more complicated. So when you have those moments, for me, thank God, my husband, I can travel because of his job. So I get to travel quite a bit, and he may not come with me, but I have the flexibility to go and see the family. I'm the butterfly. I'm pretty much the one that can get around. And now I have with my ministry where I can get them at least once a year. I know every September we can get to the table. And my husband, Elgin, is an only child. He grew up in a quiet environment, peaceful. And I'm an African woman. We don't have such a thing as quiet environment. So I feel so sorry for my husband. And it's like, gosh, do you guys ever get quiet? No, we don't. We don't get to see each other. So I say you have an option. Can you go hang out with your mom for a few days? Or you can, because my house is the hub. So, but when we get to that relationship, we get to share and we're talking, we laugh together, we've cried together. You know, it's almost as if no one has ever left. You know, but that is what I'm talking about. Just having a bond that even this being afar off cannot tear. When we come together, it's as if we never left. And I think families need to find a way to pull that back together. We have a way to communicate, to get to just be involved in each other's lives. Now you hear people say, I don't want anyone in my business. You don't have a business. You don't have you have family. That should be the bottom line, because if we have those relationships, we are honest, we're transparent, we're able to share truths, then we're able to find out, I am in so much debt, I'm about to leave this inheritance for my children that they don't need to have. You can have someone, you have confidant, it could be just be accountable to someone.
Yeah.
A friend, a sister, someone you can talk to. Hey, these are my problems. But no one is talking. We are all masking a life, pretending things are great, and they're not.
They're not, yeah.
So for me, there's nothing more important than to keep this richness in my family.
Absolutely.
My sisters and brothers. Thank God that we've had our problems, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
We went a couple of years, we were mad. Everyone was mad at each other, especially after my mom passed away.
Yeah.
And no one saw it coming. It really tore the family apart.
Stay right there. We're going to talk more about your mom.
Sure.
And this mantle that you're carrying, that your mother left behind.
Indeed.
We're living the life we sing about. Stay tuned. Be right back.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Thanks for coming back to join us. If you're just tuning in, I'm with Maseray Young, dear friend who we've been talking about some legacies and family traditions and all that good stuff. And we're going to pick up now in really talking about your mother and just carrying on the work and the vision of your mother. Share your story.
Charlene, this woman left. Esther was her name, is her name, because in my mind she's still around. Her spirit is still alive. Esther Eliza Kaikai, mother of 12. And of course, she had 9, survived by 9 children. Now it's 7 of us. Such a woman of power. She loved everyone. I don't know how she did it, to just come into the community, and she gathered everyone's children and just supported, loved, and blessed anyone that she could. And that's exactly how she loved. She raised us to be community people, to care about others. I grew up in Sierra Leone, West Africa, and came to the United States about 29 years ago. But prior to coming here, I grew up with all of my siblings, even though I was in boarding school. But we get to come home, and every time we came home, there was a new person in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like, gosh, can we just have time with our mom without others? And that's just how she was. Whatever we ate, everyone ate. It didn't matter. Even folks off the street. And then I found myself being just like her. Coming home from holidays, I'll just drag people on. You want to go home? I don't know if I want to go. Come with us. And I'll get there. The house is full with friends and family. I didn't realize this was something that was actually going to be a part of my journey today. So mom came to the United States after I came, stayed with us in Atlanta for a few years, and then she moved to Maryland. But after being in the country, in the United States for maybe about, I think 20 something years, she was ready to go back home, retire. So she left Sierra Leone. She left the United States, went to Sierra Leone in May, I think May of 2010.
Okay.
Right before she left, they found out that she was diagnosed with sugar diabetes.
Okay.
So we thought that was the problem. So we made sure everything was okay before she left.
Sure.
Went home, purchased the land for her to move back and help women and children, because that's always been her deal. She loved to support as many children and women as she could. So we were planning to go back when she came, and so we can build her home. She got back here in August. She looked frail, weak. I mean, it was sad to look at my mom. And I took her from the airport straight to the hospital. And it was less than 24 hours, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. So all of these dreams that she had, all the things she's worked for, the support of her children to go back home was dying in front of us right there.
Wow.
So of course, I am a minister. I had to look at what I can see in the spirit, not what was looking in front of me. She looked like death. But I said, you know what, Lord, I'm going to believe. I'm going to believe that we're going to pull through this. Went to the doctor, and they basically told us she don't have long. And so we did the best we could. And this was a diagnosis in August 15, September 27th, she passed away. And I was angry for a number of reasons. I was mad at my country, Sierra Leone. How could you not have a medical system in place that could at least diagnose this woman in time to send her here? She was diagnosed of ulcers. I mean, how do you go from ulcer to cancer? So there was this anger in me. I wanted nothing to do with my country. I was done. I just needed to honor her the best way I could. In this case, we buried her here in the States. I was going to go to Sierra Leone the next year, which I did in 2011, to do her memorial, because for our culture, it's really prefer for our mothers to be buried in the country. But because of all of her children and grandkids are overseas, we buried her in the United States. I said, so honoring her family, I did the memorial in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Charlene, this trip was a goodbye to my country. I was so tired. I was just going to say, okay, I've honored her. I'm back in the United States. I'm a naturalized citizen. I don't have any reason to go back. But it was in that moment that God pulled on my heartstrings. It started with this little child that came and pulled my arm and looked at me. And she just clung. I mean, she was just there, just following me around. So I started talking to her. What's your name? How are you doing? Where do you live? And we finished that conversation. Another child came to me, another child. And I just said, no, 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 no. I just kept saying that. And my girlfriend, she's an American citizen. She was born in the States, went to Sierra Leone for the first time. She stood afar off, looked at me, and she wept. She just had tears in her eyes. And she said, you're going to fulfill Mom's legacy. And I was like, God, that's not the plan. I don't want to come back. I am done with this country. And I could hear the soft, soothing voice of God telling me, you are going to finish what your mother started. She was going to get just a home, her personal house, maybe 3 or 4 girls, women and children that she can help.
Yeah.
And the Lord said, you're going to do this on a larger scale.
So tell us about that.
Oh my gosh, I came.
If you told the story, it's a long journey. Tell us where we are.
We are at this point now where I came to the United States, I talked to my pastors, and someone verified that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. 2012, I'm dragging my feet. Finally, 2012, my pastors, Van and Regina Smith, said, Maseray, what are you doing about this vision? So I had to take it off the shelf and say, okay, Lord, I'm going to do this. So I talked to my sisters. We decided in 2013 that, okay, we are going to start a ministry for women and children. I don't know how much people know about Sierra Leone. This is a country that went through 11 years of civil war from 2001 to, I think, we went from 1999 to 2000. And 2001 is when it really started. And it went for 10 years. So we're talking about over 50,000 orphans, a country that was about 5 or 6 million. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And then shortly after we rebounded from that, we had Ebola. Thousands of lives, so that's more orphans in the streets.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And then just last year, mudslide, thousands more. So the kids were there, they need homes, and I had to take on some of these children. So we did the first fundraiser in 2013. We had about 100 people that came. We didn't raise as much. We did the second one 2 years later, 2015. And you were one of our guests on the one we did last year. And it was a really great success. I mean, people came, they supported us. And as a result of these 3 fundraisers, I was able to go back to Sierra Leone, purchase 2 acres of land. So yeah, we have 2 acres of land. Yeah. I just left Sierra Leone 4 weeks ago. We dug the well, because we need water in order to build. The well has been dug. We need money now to excavate, and the process is going to begin. All in 2 weeks. I'll be back in Sierra Leone to start building the foundation.
That is amazing. And we met a few years ago around, gosh, I can't remember now where you were in the phase, but it was still just burning in you at that time. And now we're talking about a building and the grounds and people bringing in equipment and things like that. It is amazing. We're going to take another break.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about you a little bit more.
Okay, sure.
And your journey and where you are and how you take care of you.
Indeed.
Indeed. Be right back.
Hey, let's check out this park. cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
You have got to document this story. Just make sure you document absolutely every step of the way. You just have so much to share. I've got so little time to capture it all, but really want to spend this last couple of minutes just talking about Maseray Young, or just Maseray.
Indeed.
How about that? Licensed minister, real estate broker, event planner, 3 very different industries here. How do you manage all of this?
You know, with commonality of all of those 3 is people. Loving, kind, sharing, giving.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at. As a minister, I went in that my husband wanted to be in ministry. He said he was going to go to school, and I kind of fell into it. He said, I'm registering too to make sure he goes through. He said he's going to do this. I want him to do it, so I registered to be the bodyguard to make sure. And I fell in love with Jesus doing that. And he was in that process with, well, let's back up. Before that, I started real estate. His mother, my husband Elgin's mom, was a realtor. She's been for almost 40 years. She sold me my first home when we were dating.
Okay.
Shortly after I bought that house, we got married a year later. So I fell in love with real estate, watching the way she cared for people, giving them their dreams. And so that's how I did. I was working for Delta, left Delta Airlines, went full-time in real estate, worked with Keller Williams for years and years, did well. And then 2 years ago, I joined a friend of mine, Peter Wan. So now I work as a residential and commercial broker. Okay. I run the residential division. He runs the commercial division. But with all of that I'm doing, I am so busy in Sierra Leone. It's really taken away from what I need to be doing here in the States. So I just said, okay, God, you're just going to have to provide. It's been since September. I've really not worked. And I cannot take the 2, because I know the Lord is going to use my real estate business to also help fund my ministry. And I said, it seems like there is a drought, not because there are not buyers or sellers out there, but because I'm so busy with the ministry. But I'm setting a team here who can run the business while I'm away, so my business doesn't have to suffer.
Sure.
So I have great people working with me. So we're tying those 2 things together. And the ministry, I'm with a great ministry here in Atlanta, the Solid Rock of Atlanta Church. My pastors are Van and Regina Smith, who are so supportive of what I'm doing. So I have this huge team now that is just helping me to make sure all of these things come to fruition. So while I'm away, all is well. God is bringing, and I am saying this now, that the clients are going to come. North, south, east, west, they're going to come. And it's going to be well enough to where I'm able to go home and do what I need to do. And my team here will be able to take care of things in my absence.
So what I did not hear was how you unplug. How do you unplug?
How do I unplug? I take advantage of little time, little getaway. Like when I'm here at home right now, I had a niece that was living with me. She moved on to her own place. It's just my husband and I at the house. Sometimes we just stay home, relax, get a massage, go on a short trip. Sierra Leone is not a vacation, it's work.
Right.
And mostly I need time with my family, with my husband. So we are planning to hopefully soon to go, maybe before I go back to Sierra Leone, even though this is another ministry, we're going to Argentina, to the Bible school in Argentina, Paris Bible College, which is my affiliation, Andrew Womack Ministries. I serve there as the coordinator here in Atlanta, and my husband serves as the dean of student.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to Argentina, even though it's for work, in a way, but I'm going to take that as an opportunity to rest a bit.
You promise?
I promise. And I'll be in Mexico next weekend, actually.
Okay.
That also is affiliated with ministry. Mr. Gahiola is the gentleman that did my plan. He's the architect that did everything. So I'm meeting with him to show him that we've tweaked his plan a little bit, make sure I have his blessing to move on. So then I want to rest. I will have some time, some me time in Mexico.
What do you like to do? I mean,
I love to dance.
Well, I knew that. I do too. And you know that about me too.
Yes, I love ballroom dancing. I like singing. I love having people over. These are my joy, just to have people over, just eat and just have fun and be merry. I am all about people. Real estate is about people, it's about family. Ministry is about people, about family. Everything that the event and wedding planning, it's all about helping people realize their potential, who they are, what God has created them to be. That's my passion.
And as I shared at the top of the show, when I think about you, that's what I think about. Family, legacies,
Yes.
and the love that just really oozes out of you. I don't know another way to say it. I don't know if that was nice or not, but it just flows out of you. You bring it into places when you walk in. And you give it to you touch every, I saw you at the event, and you made it a point to touch everybody there. Now, you could have done that because you're the host and, you know, it was a fundraiser for your organization. But you still did it because that's who you are.
Indeed.
I am so honored to know you. I'm so glad that you came by to share and to pour and to give. I received. Thank you so much for being here. This is home for you, so you know you got to come back.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me the voice to share what is happening in my life and in my ministry. And it's because of people like you that I get to do what I do. So I don't take it lightly. And there's so many people you could have had in this in this chair with you, right? But you chose to have me here. So I count it a great honor and a privilege to do this. And I pray that in the very near future, we'll be able to do what's necessary for this building to be built. And you will be one of those faces that I would like to see in Sierra
You know
Leone.
I'm going to get my ticket, right?
Indeed.
I am looking forward to buying that airline ticket.
I have the camera to show it. So you are coming.
It's documented, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And for me, in talking about carrying on the work of our parents, I didn't realize until I was prepping for this time with Maseray just how much that's really a part of who I am. My mother, she loves sending greeting cards, and we've talked about today the importance of just touching people. But you know, something that really stands out for me, a few years ago, I went to a Kwanzaa dinner. This family has a Kwanzaa dinner every year. And there's a woman who facilitates a moment in time during the dinner, and she asked us, the kids this year, what is it that you need from us? What do you all need from the adults? And I will never forget the comment that this one young man made. We need for you all to show us how to do what you did, because when we do what you did as it pertains to injustices in the world, we end up dead, we end up hurt, we end up in jail. How did you all do that to be here today to tell us about it? Give us that information. That's what we're talking about here today. Leaving that legacy for our children so that they can go out and do those things that we were able to do and get similar or the same results that we got. We are living the life we sing about. So glad you're here. Come back again. And until next time, I hope that you will continue to happen to life. Take good care.